Everyone has a story, and that story may not always be a good one, myself included. It's difficult for me to open up to people because my history is just it's just not good. Most people have normal seeming lives with peace and support and all of the things, and I just didn't. And so it's difficult when you have come from toxic situations to then meet people who have also shared in those situations and understand the difference between someone who's genuinely trying to open up and someone who could to potentially be abusive later in the relationship. There's no way to tell. Okay. It's not a red flag having a sob story. The sob story itself could just simply be a person who is unfortunate enough to have had trauma in their past. But what abusive people do is they will use that sob story later after abuse has occurred to justify the abuse. Oh, I didn't know I could hit you. I hit you because I saw my dad do it to my mom and I had no idea I could do that. Well, the fact of the matter is, if you're giving me this explanation, that you knew you could. And instead of getting therapy and healing before you chose to date, you chose to take the risk of exploding on the person that you say you love. So it's important that as we date, we do not tolerate on any level people who physically, emotionally, sexually, or otherwise abuse you and then blame some event from their past as to why it is that they did that to you. Yes, that event may have you damaged, but if you know that you're damaged, then I need you to heal. It is not your responsibility as the victim to help the person who harmed you to heal. It is their sole responsibility to heal. Oftentimes, when people find themselves in this cycle of violence that we discussed in the Smart Heart course, they are reluctant to let go of the toxic relationship because this abuser has convinced the victim that they are the only one that can help them to heal. So they're suffering all of this abuse with the hope that one day, okay, this person will get their stuff together and then they will reap the benefits of this healed person. And then what often happens is that abuser cheats, okay? And then they're trying to reconcile, okay, how are you cheating on me with someone else when I'm helping you and suffering through all of the damage that you've caused as a result of your traumatic past? Bell Hooks has a quote, and forgive me for butchering it, but it was something along the lines of the best thing that a woman can do for herself is to understand that love does not equate suffering. The amount of suffering that you endure in a relationship is not a reflection of how much you love a person. But women in general have been brought up to believe that the more that they endure from a person is proof of the amount of love that they have for that person. But when you deal with an abusive person, they often don't appreciate the suffering. In fact, they're judging you in the back of their head because they know they're less than. And they say, first of all, they think you're stupid for dealing with them because they know that they're a manipulator and they feel like they're smarter than you, which is why um, they stay around because they can control the victim. And so in the back of their head, they already think that they're better. So they don't respect you for staying and suffering. They're judging you in the back of while they're saying it with the words that they love you, they're telling everyone else that you're stupid and that you're not smart and they can get away with anything and you'll stay. And the fact of the matter is, if the manipulation is done well enough, that it's true. But the victim doesn't see it that way. They see it as I have to work hard to save my relationship. Relationships are hard. Relationships take a whole lot of work, and I'm putting in that work. When people who are in healthy, long lasting relationships don't speak that way, they say, if I didn't have my partner, life would have been a lot harder. Okay. They say, I wouldn't have been able to get through life without my partner. They're not saying that life with my partner is hell, and that's proof that I love my partner. So the sob story is something that we need to pay attention to as we date. We need to say, hey, okay, you have a traumatic history. Maybe I do, maybe I don't, but I'll hear you out. But when you curse me out, put your hands on me, take something or damage something that belongs to me, okay? Then you come back with the story as, oh, I had no idea I could do that, or I did that because of my past and my history, or I can't trust people because the last person cheated. Then none of that is my problem. None of that is the problem of the person who's being abused. And if you're strong enough and if your heart is smart, at that point you need to walk away. There is no conversation to be had. That person, if you allow them a second chance, will take it and do the same thing over and over again. I liken it to if someone points a gun at you and they shoot and they miss. If you give a person like that a second chance, that's it's the same as saying, hey, I have an extra bullet, try again. Some people don't deserve second chances. And people who do wrong by you in those ways do not.